If there was a God who could do these things and demand these things of us, and he was eternal and unchanging, we'd be living under a dictatorship from which there is no appeal. One that could never change, and one that knows our thoughts and can convict us of thought crime and condemn us to eternal punishment for actions that we are condemned in advance to be taking. It is an excellent thing that we have absolutely no reason to believe any of it to be true. Christopher Hitchens. Big Brother is watching you. George Orwell, 1984. Christianity and 1984. Anyone who has read George Orwell's 1984 obviously understands the reference that I'm making in the title of this video, but for those of you who have not read the book, let me explain. Throughout the book, there is reference to a person. Whether he truly exists in this fictional world is never actually said, called Big Brother, and he is always watching you. He is the nebulous, almost omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent ruler of Ingsoc, the oppressive authoritarian regime of Oceania. Beyond being mentioned in a menacing and malevolent tone throughout the book, he is not an actual character. One of the defining characteristics of Big Brother is that he can convict you of thought crime and then sentence you to be reconditioned to love him before your eventual vaporization. If you so much as have a thought that goes against the party, Big Brother makes you love him before he wipes you from existence. Does this sound familiar to you? A menacing and masculine, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent being that can only be speculated to exist, that can convict you of thought crime, makes you love him, and then vaporizes his enemies? No? Well, I think the parallels are very clear. Big Brother is God, and God is Big Brother. At the heart of both the biblical God and Big Brother lie the themes of control and authority. In the Bible, God is depicted as the supreme being, the creator of the universe, and the ultimate authority over all life. His commands are to be followed without question, and disobedience is met with severe consequences. Similarly, Big Brother exerts absolute control over the citizens of Oceania. The party's slogan, such as "Big Brother is watching you," emphasize this control. Big Brother's authority is enforced through the thought police, thought crime, and constant paranoia, and the citizens are under constant scrutiny, and even thoughts of rebellion are considered crimes against the state. Another parallel is surveillance. Surveillance is a crucial aspect of both the biblical gods and Big Brother's personas. In the Bible, God is often described as all-seeing and all-knowing. Psalms 139:7-8 says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there." This omnipresence instills a sense of constant watchfulness, knowing that God sees all actions and all thoughts. Orwell's Big Brother takes this concept to a real-world extreme. In 1984, telescreens are everywhere, monitoring every citizen's every word and deed. The party's surveillance extends even to private thoughts, as the thought police seek out and eliminate any signs of heresy and unorthodoxy. Another parallel is between Christianity and Ingsoc, the fictional party of Oceania. Essentially, both worship a quote-unquote benevolent father figure that nobody has ever seen or met and presumably does not exist. In the book, there is a ceremony very similar to a Greg Locke sermon or a Westboro Baptist Church service called the 2 Minutes Hate. During the 2 Minutes Hate, all of the enemies of Ingsoc are shown on a screen, and everyone in the crowd convulses with rage, throwing chairs and books, screaming and stamping their feet. It's really hard not to notice the similarity. Yet another parallel is the revisionist version of history that is created by the party. In the book, whenever a martyr or statistics are needed by the party to boost morale, they just make one up. The same was done by the church with the martyring of the apostles. The people around which the stories were written may have existed, but the stories of their martyrdom cannot, in most cases, be corroborated with any historical evidence. So the church and Ingsoc both created stories out of whole cloth to legitimize their authority and inspire their followers. Another parallel is that of the Ingsoc slogan. Their slogan is, "War is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength." Christianity has always espoused the virtues of peace and yet spread through war and conquest. It espoused freedom, yet endorsed and codified slavery, and it has always reveled in the ignorance of its followers. I'm sure there are plenty more parallels to be discussed between 1984 and the Christian religion, and I could probably find more since I'm almost done with my third reading, but I can't think of any more right now. So I don't know if this was Orwell's intent, but I see these parallels between 1984 and Christianity as striking. So my recommendation is to go read 1984 with a mind to compare it to Christianity. You'll probably be surprised at just how much there is to notice. I believe Orwell's original intent was to warn of the dangers of totalitarianism and authoritarianism, and I see Christianity as the ultimate, celestial, totalitarian authoritarianism. God is Big Brother, the Church is Ingsoc, and Christendom is Oceania. So seriously, whether you are a Christian or an atheist, I recommend reading the book. It may be a beautifully depressing tale, but it has many lessons to impart to us about the dangers of authoritarianism and the worship of a quote-unquote benevolent dictator. Honestly, I think it's one of the most profound pieces of fiction to come out of the 20th century and is especially relevant in the world we find ourselves in today.